I still remember the day I found out like it was yesterday. My name's Mark, and I thought I had everything figured out. Good job, a nice apartment, and the woman I was going to marry in a few days. Her name's Lisa, and she seemed perfect at first. We met in college, fell hard, and everything seemed like it was meant to be. I mean, she was a little bitchy sometimes, but I brushed it off. Most women are, right? Besides, she had that fiery attitude I found kind of sexy. We were planning our wedding, and I honestly thought I knew everything about her. That was until I started noticing small things that didn't add up. It started with her phone. She'd always be hiding it, locking the screen when I came near. I caught her texting late at night more and more often. She'd get defensive if I asked who she was talking to, saying it was just her sister or her coworker. Whatever. Then I noticed her perfume changing. I mean, I don't pay attention to stuff like that usually. But one day I caught a whiff of something floral and sweet when she was sleepily brushing her hair, and it wasn't her usual scent. I brushed it off, thinking I was imagining things. But then the calls started coming in during the day, and she'd answer in the bathroom or whisper when she was on the phone. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I trusted her, or at least that's what I told myself. But then I saw her leaving the house late one night, her coat pulled up around her neck. I was just coming home from work and caught sight of her climbing into a car I didn't recognize. My heart kind of sank, but I convinced myself maybe she was just visiting her sister or meeting a friend. Still, the way she looked over her shoulder before she got in, the way she hurried, told me she wasn't just out for a walk. I decided not to confront her right then. I figured I'd wait until I had more proof. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that I was missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Then came the night I started digging. I couldn't sleep, couldn't stop thinking about all those little clues, the secretive phone calls, the perfume, her late night sneaking around. So I decided to check her phone when she was in the shower. I know, big invasion of privacy, but I was desperate. I found messages, not just innocent chit-chat. No, she was texting someone, some guy named Kyle, talking about how she couldn't wait to see him again, how he made her feel alive, and other shit that made my stomach turn. My blood went cold. I'd never felt so betrayed. There was more too: photos, flirtatious messages, plans to meet up in the city. I was stunned, hurt, and furious all at once. I didn't want to believe it at first. I mean, how could Lisa do this? We had everything planned out, our life, our future. And here she was, cheating on me with my best friend, Kyle. I'd been close to Kyle for years. We worked out together, hung out, and I considered him a brother. And now I found out he was the guy she was sneaking around with behind my back. I felt like the ground was crumbling beneath me. How long had this been going on? Did she really think she could keep it hidden until the wedding? And how could she act normal every day, smiling and pretending everything was fine? That's when I knew I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I had to confront her, but I also knew that this was going to tear my world apart, if it wasn't already shattered. That night, after going through her phone, I couldn't sleep. My mind was a mess: anger, betrayal, heartbreak. I kept asking myself how she could do this to me, to us. We had just a few days left before the wedding, and instead of feeling excited, I was drowning in a sea of confusion and rage. I wanted to confront her right then, but I also knew I needed to be smart about it. I didn't want her to lie her way out or deny it until I had concrete proof. So I waited until the next morning, trying to come up with a plan. When she got up, I could see the false sweetness on her face. "Morning, babe," she said, giving me that fake smile that I now knew was full of lies. I looked at her across the breakfast table, and something snapped inside me. I couldn't pretend anymore. I told her I knew about Kyle, about everything. Her face froze, her eyes narrowing as if she was trying to play innocent. "What are you talking about? You're crazy," she spat, but I wasn't buying it. I laid out what I found, and for a second she looked genuinely panicked. Then that bitchy smirk returned. "Seriously, Mark, you're accusing me of cheating, and I haven't even done anything. You're just paranoid. Maybe you're the one who's been acting weird," she said with that annoying, dismissive tone. I felt my blood boil. How could she lie so blatantly? How could she sit there and deny what was clearly evidence? I wanted to hit her, to shake her, but I knew I had to stay calm. I told her I'd had enough of her bullshit, and I was done pretending she wasn't lying to my face. She kept insisting she was innocent, that I must have misunderstood, that Kyle was just a friend, that she was so tired of this suspicion crap. But I wasn't buying her lies anymore. I told her I was done, that I wasn't going to marry someone who was cheating on me with my best friend. That moment, everything changed. She started crying, trying to manipulate me with tears, saying I was overreacting, that I didn't know what I was talking about, that I was being jealous and insecure. That's when I knew her tears were fake. I could see her eyes gleaming with guilt, not remorse, just guilt and a kind of bitchy amusement, like she was enjoying the game. But I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I told her I was leaving and that I wanted her out of the house. I didn't want to see her face anymore, not until she decided to be honest. She threw a fit, screaming about how I was ruining everything, calling me insecure and crazy, saying she was so over this whole mess. She made a scene, acting like the victim, trying to turn it around on me. But by then I was done. My mind was made up. I packed a bag, told her I'd be staying at my brother's place, and that I'd be filing for divorce if she didn't come clean. That night, as I drove away from our shared house, knowing she was pregnant, probably with Kyle's kid, I felt like I was walking into a nightmare. I'd spent years loving her, building a future, and now I was left with nothing but betrayal. She had lied, cheated, and played me for a fool, all while acting like everything was normal. I remember sitting in my brother's living room, staring at the ceiling, feeling numb. I felt humiliated, angry, and honestly pretty broken. How could she do this? How could she lie so convincingly, act like she cared, and then turn around and screw everything up with my best friend? I didn't know what to do next. I just knew I had to get away for a while, clear my head, and figure out what the hell I was going to do about the mess I just uncovered. The days that followed were a blur of anger and disbelief. I couldn't believe she was pregnant with Kyle's kid. She told me she was just a little late, that it was probably stress, and of course she denied any affair. But I knew better. I saw the messages, the pictures, the way she flinched when I mentioned Kyle's name. She couldn't hide it anymore. She tried to play it off, saying I was overreacting, that I was being jealous, paranoid. That bitch truly thought she could lie her way out of this, just like she'd lied to me from the start. I refused to be a sucker. I started digging deeper, talking to people I trusted, my brother, a couple of friends. I needed to understand how I'd missed all the signs, how she'd managed to keep this secret for so long. And that's when I learned more shocking things. It turned out she'd been seeing Kyle for months, possibly even before we got engaged. Her stress stories. Just bullshit to cover her tracks. She'd been sneaking around, lying, cheating, while I was planning our wedding and trying to build a future. I remember one night in particular. I had gone back to the house to grab some stuff, just to see it one last time before I moved out permanently. I had no intention of going back, but my curiosity got the better of me. When I entered, I saw her sitting on the couch, looking all innocent, her face flushed. She was holding a glass of wine, pretending to watch TV. I couldn't hold back. I told her I knew everything, about Kyle, about her pregnancy, about how she'd been lying this whole time. Her reaction was priceless. At first she tried to act surprised, then she started yelling, calling me a crazy, jealous idiot. "You don't know what you're talking about, Mark," she snapped. "You're just insecure. Kyle's just a friend, for God's sake." I looked right into her eyes and told her I didn't believe her anymore, that her lies had crossed a line. She tried to deny everything, but I'd seen enough. I told her I was done, that I wanted her gone. She started screaming that I was ruining her life, that she was so over this bullshit, and then she threw her wine glass against the wall. It shattered, and she looked at me like I was the villain. That moment I knew she didn't care about us anymore. She only cared about saving her own ass. The emotional fallout was intense. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Betrayed by my wife and my best friend. How could I not feel like the biggest fool alive? I'd loved her, I'd trusted her, and she turned around and shat all over everything. The worst part, knowing she was now pregnant, probably Kyle, and she still acted like everything was normal, like she was the victim. That was what made me so angry. I'd invested everything in that relationship, and she just threw it all away. I kept asking myself why. Why did she do this? What was missing in her life that she had to cheat, to lie, to ruin us? And honestly, I still don't have a good answer. I just know that I felt like I'd been played, used, and discarded. The pain was overwhelming, but part of me also felt a strange relief, like I was finally free from that lie. I remember sitting on the curb outside her house one night, staring at the streetlights, thinking about everything I'd lost. The trust, the future, the person I thought I knew. I couldn't get the image of her lying there, pregnant and pretending everything was fine, out of my head. It hit me hard how much I had loved her, how much I'd wanted this life. And now all I could do was pick up the pieces. I knew it was going to take time, but I also knew I had to move on, no matter how much it hurt. I wasn't going to stay in this mess forever, but man, the betrayal cuts deep. It's not just the cheating, it's the fact that she lied so convincingly, so ruthlessly, right up until the moment I found out. That's what hurts the most. The realization that I was blind and that everything I thought we had was just a huge lie. After that night, I made it clear to myself that I needed to cut her out of my life completely. No more late-night calls, no more texts, no more pretending that this was just some terrible mistake that we could fix. I started packing up my stuff, taking only what I needed, thoughts muddled with rage and heartbreak. I didn't want anything from that house except to get away from the memories, from her, especially knowing she was pregnant with Kyle's child. Every piece of furniture, every photograph, felt like a slap in the face. I kept asking myself how a woman I loved, who promised me forever, could do something so cruel. Once I had everything I needed, I moved into a small apartment nearby. I told myself I was doing it for a clean break, but honestly, part of me just couldn't stand being under the same roof with her anymore. The first few days were the worst. I would lie awake at night, replaying everything, the lies, the sneaking around, the way she had betrayed me right when I thought I was about to marry her. I felt like a damn fool. I had trusted her with everything, and she'd been screwing Kyle behind my back. That realization ate me up inside. Meanwhile, she kept trying to contact me, calling and texting like nothing was wrong. She'd send messages claiming she was so sorry, that she was confused, that she still loved me and wanted to work things out. I didn't respond. I knew better. I could see through her manipulative bullshit. She was just trying to guilt me into coming back, but I wasn't falling for it. I saw right through her. She was pregnant, probably with Kyle's kid, and still acting like she was the victim. That made me furious. She lied about everything, about her feelings, about why she cheated, about her plans. All of it just made me feel sick. One day, I decided to confront her face to face. I needed closure, even if I knew I'd never fully forgive her. I showed up at her place unannounced, my heart pounding. She answered the door with that bitchy smirk, trying to act like everything was normal. I told her I knew she was pregnant, I knew about Kyle, and I didn't want to hear any more lies. Her eyes widened for a second, then she started to spin her usual bullshit. "Mark, you don't understand. It's not what you think. I was stressed. Things got out of control. Kyle, not even involved anymore. It's just a mistake, just a fucking mistake." She was lying again, just like always. I could see through her, clear as day. I told her I didn't want to hear her lies anymore, that I was done, finished, gone. I told her she could keep her pregnancy, her lies, her Kyle, and everything else. I was walking away, literally. I turned my back on her and left. That was the last time I saw her face. That moment, I knew I had to rebuild myself from nothing. It hurt like hell, but I knew I couldn't keep pretending. I deserved better than a cheater, especially one who'd throw everything away just to be with Kyle. Since then, I've been trying to piece my life back together. It's not easy, and I won't lie, there are days when the pain hits hard. I feel angry, betrayed, and even stupid for trusting her in the first place. But I also realize I learned a lot from this. Trust is fragile. People can surprise you in the worst ways, and sometimes you just have to accept that you can't fix everything. The biggest lesson: never ignore the warning signs, and never, ever ignore that little voice telling you something's wrong. If I could go back, I'd tell anyone in my shoes to listen to their gut, because once you're deep in betrayal, the road back gets damn hard. And yeah, I'm still healing. But I know one thing for sure: something better is waiting for me on the other side of this mess. It's been a few months now since I walked away from her, and honestly, I'm still trying to figure out how to move forward. Every day feels like a struggle, but at least I don't wake up every morning feeling like I got hit by a truck anymore. The pain of betrayal doesn't go away overnight. I still replay everything in my head, her lies, Kyle's betrayal, the way she acted like everything was normal until it all came crashing down. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever really trust again, or if I'll just carry this scar for the rest of my life. One thing I've realized is how much my perspective has changed. I used to think love and trust were the most important things in a relationship. Now I see how fragile they really are. I used to think my wife was the one, that we'd be together forever. But that illusion shattered the day I found out she'd been lying to me for months, pregnant with Kyle's kid, acting like I was crazy for even questioning her. That realization hit hard. It made me question everything about what I want in a partner and whether I ever really knew her at all. On top of that, I've had to deal with the fallout from mutual friends and family. Some of them took her side, called me heartless or jealous, but I didn't care. I know who I am and I know what I saw. I've had to explain over and over that she lied, cheated, and manipulated her way into Kyle's bed while I was planning our wedding. It's embarrassing, honestly. I used to trust her completely, and now I'm just trying to find my footing again. A lot of my friends tell me I should try dating again, but I'm not ready yet. Honestly, I don't think I'll want to jump back into something serious anytime soon. Right now, I'm just focusing on myself, getting my head straight, working on my career, and healing from this emotional wreckage. I've had some therapy sessions, and that's been a huge help. Talking through everything with someone who isn't emotionally involved makes a difference. I've come to accept that what happened was a tragedy, but also a lesson. A really painful one, but a lesson nonetheless. One thing I do know, I won't let this define me. I won't let her betrayal turn me into someone bitter or suspicious forever. I want to be better, stronger, smarter. I want to believe in love again someday, but I also know I'll never forget what I went through. It's a part of me now, a scar that will stay. But scar tissue can make you tougher, right? I keep telling myself that every day. I guess what I want to say to anyone reading this is, if you're going through something similar, hold on. It's going to hurt and it's going to take time. But eventually, you will find your way out of the darkness. Just don't let the betrayal destroy your sense of self. You're worth more than their lies, more than their betrayal. And someday, you'll realize that your happiness doesn't depend on someone who doesn't deserve you anyway. Looking back, I realize that this entire ordeal has changed me in ways I never expected. I used to believe in happily ever afters, in the idea that love could conquer anything. Now I see how fragile even the most beautiful relationships are when betrayal lurks beneath the surface. It's a brutal lesson, but one I had to learn the hard way. The pain of discovering Lisa's affair, her pregnancy with Kyle's child, and everything she lied about almost broke me entirely. But somehow I'm still here, still standing. I've come to accept that some people are just not who you thought they were. I was blindsided by her charm, her bitchy attitude, and her lies. I never thought she'd cheat on me or lie about something so huge, but I also learned that I can survive betrayal. I've learned to trust my gut more, to listen to that little voice warning me when something's off. If I could give anyone advice from all this, it's this. Don't ignore the signs. If you're feeling uneasy, dig deeper. Don't be afraid to confront the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. Most importantly, I realized I need to prioritize myself. I can't fix what she broke, and honestly, I don't want to. I deserve someone who values honesty, loyalty, and respect, not someone who lies, cheats, and manipulates their way through life. I'm not perfect and I've made my share of mistakes, but I refuse to be anyone's fool anymore. I've started to rebuild my life slowly, step by step, and I feel stronger for it. This experience has left scars, but it also gave me clarity. I now know what I want and what I don't want. I know that love isn't worth suffering for if it comes with lies and betrayal. Trust is precious, and if it's broken, it's damn hard to repair. But I also believe that someday when I'm ready, I'll open my heart again. Not because I believe in fairy tales anymore, but because I believe that real love, trust, loyalty, respect is worth fighting for. So for anyone out there dealing with something similar, stay strong. Don't let their betrayal define you. Take the time to heal, learn from it, and then move on. Life is too short to waste it on people who don't deserve your trust. I've lost a lot, but I've gained something even more valuable: hope. Hope that I'll find happiness again, that I'll find someone who truly values me. And that, in the end, is what keeps me going.